So the Gospel of Luke, it isn't just a story. It was written as an orderly account, a really deliberate, investigated narrative. You see, the author's whole goal was to provide certainty. So in this explainer, we're going to follow that carefully built path he laid out and see what truths he was aiming to lock in for good. And he tells you this right from the get-go. I mean, from the very first lines, Luke makes his purpose crystal clear. This isn't just a random collection of stories. It's an account built to give you certainty. He's basically promising a factual foundation for everything that's about to unfold, a narrative designed to confirm what his audience had already been taught. All right, so the narrative kicks off immediately with two miraculous birth announcements, and the way they're contrasted, wow. It introduces a central theme for the entire book, this constant tension between real faith and nagging doubt. Okay, get this, because the crucial detail here is the difference in their questions. On one hand, you've got Zechariah. He's a respected priest, he's in the temple, he hears this incredible promise, and his first response is doubt. How can I be sure of this? But then you have Mary, a young woman, and she hears an even more impossible promise. Yet her question isn't about certainty, it's about logistics. How will this be? It's a huge distinction. Zechariah's doubt gets him 9 months of silence, while Mary's faith gets a clear explanation. So here's the point the text is driving home. Elizabeth's words to Mary highlight that belief itself is the foundation of blessing. It's not just about what's going to happen, it's about trusting the one who made the promise in the first place. And trust me, this idea is going to echo through the entire gospel. Let's move on and see how this all builds. As Jesus starts his public ministry, his identity as the Messiah starts getting defined. But, and this is key, it's not in the way that people expected. Nope, it's defined by his actions, his complete dependence on God, and, well, by who he calls to follow him. This moment out in the wilderness is just a perfect illustration of his unique identity. Jesus faces these three fundamental temptations, and what's so fascinating is that he succeeds precisely where the nation of Israel failed during their own journey through the wilderness. He refuses to gratify himself, he refuses to compromise his allegiance, and he refuses to glorify himself. It's all about total obedience to God's will. And then he starts calling his first followers. Take the story of Simon Peter. I mean, this guy's a professional fisherman. He's been out all night, caught absolutely nothing. Jesus tells him to try again, and the catch is so massive, it nearly sinks the boats. Now, this isn't just a fishing tip. It's a raw demonstration of divine authority over the natural world. And just look at Peter's response. It's not excitement about all the fish. It's this profound gut-level recognition of his own unworthiness in the presence of pure holiness. He sees who Jesus truly is, and in that same split second, he sees himself with brand new clarity. This becomes a crucial step for anyone who's going to follow him. And this leads us right to the core of Jesus' message. You see, following him isn't some casual decision you make. It's a radical call that completely reorients every single aspect of your life. The demands of discipleship are presented as an absolute, all-in commitment. This wasn't a part-time gig. It meant putting the mission above even the most sacred family duties, like burying a parent. It meant you had to be willing to accept a life of homelessness and rejection. And that image of the plow, it's so powerful, right? You can't plow a straight line if you're constantly looking over your shoulder. The focus has to be entirely on what's ahead. But not everyone who hears this call responds in the same way. The parable of the sower explains why. The message, the seed, is always the same, but the outcome depends entirely on the soil of a person's heart. Some are just too hardened to let it in. That's the path. Some receive it with a shallow enthusiasm that just withers under pressure. That's the rocky ground. And others, well, they let it get choked out by all of life's worries. The whole goal is to be that good soil, the heart that truly receives the message and lets it grow. Jesus also completely redefines some core concepts. When a religious expert asks him, "Who is my neighbor?" trying to trap him, Jesus answers with the story of the Good Samaritan. And the hero isn't one of the religious insiders. It's a Samaritan, a cultural enemy. The point is absolutely radical. Your neighbor isn't defined by who they are, but by your willingness to act. The true neighbor is just the one who shows mercy. Period. Okay, so this kind of radical teaching and redefining of the rules, it inevitably leads to conflict. The narrative now starts building to its climax as Jesus literally sets his face toward Jerusalem, ready to confront the religious establishment and fulfill his ultimate purpose.
These final days unfold in this rapid, super dramatic escalation. Jesus rides into Jerusalem to the roars of the crowd, hailed as a king. He immediately confronts the religious authorities in their own seat of power, the temple. Then, at one last Passover meal, he completely reinterprets the ancient ritual, creating a new covenant. And it all just hurtles toward a trial, where the Roman governor finds him innocent, but condemns him to death anyway.
You can just feel the tension building as he enters the city. When the Pharisees demand he shut the crowds up, stop them from calling him a king, Jesus gives this incredible response. It's a statement of divine inevitability. He's saying this moment is so cosmically significant that if people refuse to acknowledge it, creation itself would be forced to cry out. So, who's responsible for his death? Well, while the Roman governor Pilate is the one who gives the final order, Luke's account really emphasizes the relentless pressure from the religious leadership and the crowd. They're portrayed as the driving force here, demanding crucifixion even after Pilate himself declared Jesus was innocent. But in this orderly account, the crucifixion is not the end of the story. No way. In fact, it's the catalyst for the ultimate vindication of everything Jesus claimed and the launch of a brand new mission for his followers. 3 days later, everything changes. The tomb is empty. The resurrection becomes the absolute, undeniable turning point of the entire narrative. It's presented as the ultimate confirmation that everything Jesus said was true, the final, stunning vindication of his identity as the Son of God. And this single event completely transforms his followers. Jesus gives them a new, clear, action-oriented mission. It's basically 3 steps. Go out and proclaim repentance, announce forgiveness, and be witnesses to everything you have seen. This simple mandate becomes the foundation for the entire early church. So the final event in Luke's gospel is the Ascension. And this isn't just him leaving. It's a pivotal transition. It's where the story of Jesus' physical time on earth concludes, and the story of his followers carrying on his mission officially begins. That 40-day period between the resurrection and the ascension is presented as absolutely crucial. It was a time of final instruction, where Jesus was preparing his disciples for the immense task ahead of them, really solidifying their understanding and getting them ready for what was next. You know, the transformation of the disciples is maybe the most dramatic arc in the whole story. We see them start as these confused, fearful followers who literally run away at the first sign of trouble. But the book ends with them returning to Jerusalem filled with great joy and continually praising God. The resurrection for them changed absolutely everything. So as we close this look at Luke's orderly account, we're left with one last question to chew on. We've seen all these characters get derailed by doubt, by the desire for status, and by the love of money. If this entire narrative is showing us that simple faith is the key, what does it suggest is the single biggest obstacle that stands in our way?